Nestled deep within the verdant embrace of northern India's hills lay a village where silence often spoke louder than words. Here lived Meera, a woman of 36, whose face bore the delicate script of quiet sorrows. Her eyes, once pools of vibrant dreams, had dimmed, but beneath the surface, a fierce, unwavering love burned for her children, Anaya and Kabir. Life, however, had long forgotten how to be kind to Meera. A decade ago, during a monsoon storm that tore through the night, her husband, Rahav, had stormed out after a bitter argument. The weight of their mounting debts, a burden he never learned to carry, had crushed him. That night, he vanished. Whispers wove through the village like tendrils of smoke. Some said he fled to the city, others that the river had claimed him. No one knew for certain. Only silence remained, a gaping void that Meera was left to fill, piece by broken piece. Since then, Meera had worn two hats, that of a mother and a father, her fragile dignity stitched into every threadbare fold of her sari. Each morning, long before the first bird dared to chirp, Meera would rise. She'd wrap her faded dupatta around her head and step into the misty dawn. Her destination, the homes of the privileged, where she would sweep and scrub floors until her hands grew raw and calloused, her back a constant ache. Her soul, though, bore the deepest bruises, inflicted by the cold, dismissive glances of society. The few rupees she earned barely stretched to cover rice and lentils. Milk was a forgotten luxury. New clothes, a distant fantasy. Anaya and Kabir never voiced a complaint, yet Meera saw the unspoken hunger in their eyes, the lingering gaze they cast upon other children's brimming lunchboxes. At night, when the village light softened and her children slept, huddled together for warmth, Meera would retreat to a corner of their mud home. She would stare at the cracks in the walls, whispering, "Why me?" Her tears fell, silent as the rain no one notices. The village women often murmured behind her back, "That luck follows her," their words becoming insidious shadows she couldn't shake. Slowly, she began to believe them. There were nights she despised her life, not for herself, but for the childhood her children were being denied. One afternoon, Anaya came home from school, tears streaming down her face like a broken monsoon. "Ma," she sobbed, "the girls laughed at my torn clothes. They said I looked like a beggar." Meera pulled her daughter close, murmuring, "You're a queen in my eyes, Anaya. Clothes don't define your worth." But inside, her own heart fractured like a dry twig. That same evening, Kabir approached her, holding out a drawing from school. It depicted a stick-figure family under a bright, joyful sun. In the center, a smiling woman with wild hair and large, strong hands. Underneath, he had scrawled, "My superhero, Ma." Meera's breath caught. She hadn't truly seen herself through her children's eyes until that moment. They didn't care for silk or silver. They loved her. Her tired, work-worn hands were heroic to them. That night, something within her shifted. A flicker of strength, gentle yet fierce, ignited in her weary heart. The next morning, Meera awoke not with dread, but with a quiet storm of determination. "No more tears," she vowed to herself. "If I am all they have, then I must be more than I've ever been." She began to seek out extra work, mending torn clothes, stitching blouses, even learning to embroider by the dim light of a lantern long into the night. Her fingers often bled, but her spirit remained unbroken. With her first tiny savings, she surprised Anaya with a new blue dress, its fabric soft against her daughter's skin, and presented Kabir with a second-hand sketchbook, its blank pages promising worlds. The pure, unadulterated joy in their eyes was worth more than all the gold in the world. One day, while collecting payment from a kind schoolteacher, Meera caught the eye of Mrs. Duza, a warm-hearted woman who ran a community support group. Mrs. Duza spoke of a small business initiative designed to help women learn skills and launch local ventures. Mira hesitated, her mind clouded with doubt. "What can I do?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Mrs. Duza smiled, a gentle warmth in her eyes. "What you've always done. Nurture, create, cook. Why not start with your pickles?" Mira let out a nervous laugh. "Who would buy my pickles?" "Let the world decide," the teacher said softly. And so, with trembling hands and a heart brimming with tentative hope, Mira began bottling her homemade mango and chili pickles. Her very first jar sold quickly. People loved the bold, unforgettable flavor, much like her own quiet resilience. Week by week, order by order, Mira's small venture blossomed. Her income steadily increased. She fixed the leaky roof, bought new notebooks for school. Her children's grades soared. Her home, once damp and silent, now echoed with the vibrant music of laughter. She no longer hated her life. She had lived it fully, imbued with grit, grace, and an unshakable love. Life doesn't always unfold as we wish. Sometimes it wounds us, breaks us, tests us in silence when no one is watching. But it is in those unseen moments, when we choose to keep going, to keep loving, and to keep believing, that real strength is truly born. Mira wore no armor, wielded no sword. She held her family together with nothing but her bare hands, her boundless courage, and her quiet, unwavering faith. Do not hate your life because it is hard. Often, the hardest lives become the most inspiring stories, not because they were easy, but because someone refused to let the darkness define them.